Welcome to my world history notes where I share with you things I've learned about world history. Now, there's things that you know already and I knew already, but as I dig deeper and deeper and find more and more layers, like an onion or one of those Russian dolls, you keep opening and you find more things underneath. So I'm never going to be able to have time to get to the details, all the details I'd love to get to. And I hope that you'll take some interest in a topic or a person's name or a concept or an ideal and you'll study it. And it's okay if you disagree with me. I understand that. Important thing is that you have your own opinion from your own study. This is fascinating and it's a lot of fun. And sometimes I'm looking at really serious sources, and sometimes there's sources I question. But I'm going to share with you some things that I knew and I'm learning, and hopefully you'll be interested in some of those too. This is the world this is the background from the world that we live in today. We have a lot to cover, but it's going to take a long time. If as long as I live and have the platform, I will continue to do it. It's just fun. Okay, so in the middle of January, we're setting up the Cold War. So this background, the last year of the war, I need to provide for you, and even before that, I need to provide for you to get an idea what's happening, what will happen. So, in the middle of January 1945, the British were again active against the Japanese in Burma in the Battle of Ramri Island. This is an interesting engagement as many Japanese soldiers were allegedly killed by crocodiles in the mangrove swamps, a claim that is contested by modern experts. However, this mass death by animal is not mentioned in after battle reports. The claim that 1,000 Japanese soldiers were driven into the mangrove swamps, refused to surrender, and lost half of their number to hungry crocodiles was first mentioned in the 1962 book on wildlife. The experts on crocodiles now say it is highly unlikely. The author was at the battle but did not witness the screaming, hearing the account from motor launch operators who swore by it. And that's how they base it that all these soldiers were killed by crocodiles. Such is the nature of history. Local Burmese residents, though, noted that most of the Japanese died of malnutrition and disease and from a lack of fresh drinking water. It was noted that maybe 15 Japanese, not 500, were killed by crocodiles, although many of the dead were partially eaten by crocs, as they are wont to do. Confirm your story with eyewitness accounts when you can, and always be skeptical. Could it happen? Maybe not. It's fascinating, though, and it'd make a great movie. It probably has been one minute about it. I don't know. I haven't seen it, but anyway. About the same time, the British were fighting a particularly fierce battle in Europe, trying to clear German troops from a small triangle of towns in Holland. It was a success for Allies. This time frame also marked the last launching of a V-1 flying bomb from the Germans. This one landed in Yorkshire, England. The V-1 was an early cruise missile, also called a buzz bomb or a doodlebug. It was a frightening weapon in the many blitzes carried out against English towns and cities. A German Field Marshal von Rundstedt received permission to retreat and abandon Bastogne. It's interesting to note that von Rundstedt was already 70 years old at this time. Now, the Stalin puppet organization in Poland, called the Polish Committee of National Liberation, which I noted earlier had been denied recognition by the British, now moved to Warsaw after the Russian success in Poland. They were then called the Provisional Government of the Republic of Poland and were recognized by the Soviet Russian government. It would call the government in exile, like in London, a usurper. And the Constitution Poland enacted in 1934, like communists do, it would call it fascist. Um, the Soviet Interior Ministry had authority all over Poland, and the Red Army would be reinstituted under Soviet control. Now, remember, the Soviet Union had murdered over 20,000 Polish army officers in 1940 in the Katin Forest Massacre. An impediment to communist control, the Polish Home Army, which had been fighting the Germans, was disbanded. Home Army personnel would be sent to Soviet gulags and prisons, with the leadership being executed as they were perceived as a threat to Soviet domination. On January 20th, 1945, there was the Fourth Inauguration of Fdr. In this speech, we can see the beginnings of the globalist agenda, which started in practice with the formation of the United Nations, which we will see was in concert with the Soviet global agenda. Now, in this speech, which you can access at the Avalon Project at Yale, Yale used to be a real authority you could trust. Things have changed on some of these Ivy League institutions due to modern Marxism, cultural Marxism, but nevertheless, there's no reason for me to believe there's nothing that there's anything amiss with this. This is his fourth inaugural address of Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and in it, here's a line that gives you an understanding of what their mindset is, the government's mindset is, and how this is going to be impacted by global communism, Soviet style, and then um, just just what happens in the years after World War II. And here's a couple of great lines. Now, you got to take speeches with a grain of salt. I mean, this is an opportunity to be heard, but it doesn't necessarily it's not necessarily always accurate about what they're going to do, but it does give you the mindset, and that's what I want to. He says, "We have learned that we cannot live alone at peace. That our own well-being is dependent on the well-being of other nations far away. We've learned that we must live as men, not as ostriches, nor as dogs in the manger." And here we go. Here's the line. "We have learned to be citizens of the world, members of the human community." This is the beginning. This is not maybe not the beginning, but this is a statement of globalization, we're in, and what's got us in the mess we're in now. Um, so we'll stop it there, and we'll take up some more. Next time I want to go over a personality first from the Cold War in the beginning, Soviet agent, some things that happened. Then we'll get into some more details because we're going to get up to the Alta conference, some day-to-day events up till then, and talk about that, and talk about the Cold War. There's certain background we need to learn. So in any event, we're still going to be in the era just before Yalta, and I'll be talking that next time. All right. Thank you for listening. Please study, and I hope you come to your own conclusions about world history. Thank you.